Welcome to the Ketones and Coffee Podcast with Lawrence Manig, where we explore the ketogenic lifestyle and how it can improve your physical and mental health. Each week, we bring you valuable insights and advice from experts to help you on your journey to a healthier lifestyle. This episode is brought to you by BasicKetogenicLifestyle.com, where Lawrence coaches individuals with depression to reverse their symptoms and achieve a healthier, happier life using an evidence-based approach. So sit back, relax, and join us as we dive deep into the world of ketones and coffee. Subscribe to the Ketones and Coffee Podcast today and never miss an episode.
I'm so excited for this. Today we have a special guest joining us, someone who brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to our conversation here today, guys. Please give a warm welcome to Lori Balue. Lori, an ADAPT certified functional health coach and certified functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, is here to share her expertise on weight loss, health freedom, and the transformative power of a holistic approach. Her mission is to help women uncover hidden weight loss blocks, incorporating a holistic, low-carb, low-insulin diet for a metabolic reset so they can feel more slender and beautiful in their bodies. She is the creator of the Immersive Health Adventure, Aging Beautifully, her signature 6-month program for weight loss and lifestyle revitalization. Lori, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lorenz. It's wonderful to be here. I'm super excited to get this information out and empower more women to choose health, because that's what it comes down to.
Let's do it, Lori. Thank you so much for coming on. First of all, I appreciate you coming on in such short notice. I messaged you a couple of days and now we're here. So thank you.
You are welcome. I'm always available to help spread this mission and to empower women. And anytime we can talk and chat about it, it's a good day.
Awesome. I love it. I love the energy. And, you know, this is a fascinating episode here, guys, because before we get into Lori and how she can help you uncover your hidden weight loss blocks, first, let's dive into Lori's story here. Lori, you've got quite a story, right? Is it true that you used to weigh over 225 pounds?
Yes, I think my total was 225 pounds. It may not seem like a lot, but it was enough to just completely stall out my brain and my energy levels and just kept me depressed and sick. And so that was the top that I had. Mm-hmm.
So tell us about that story, how you got there and how you were able to lose that weight. And, you know, you obviously kept that off.
Right. So I've had a weight problem my whole life. I've been in and out of depression because of food sensitivities and food allergies, or not food allergies, but food sensitivities because of the big ones, you know, like wheat and sugar. So my mom I had topped over 200 pounds in my youth, and my mom had put me on Atkins, and I actually reduced down to 150 on average when I was going through high school. But by the time I got to my mid 30s, I was just up to 225 pounds, and I just was feeling miserable and shy and depressed and unhappy. And I walked in one time and my husband asked me, "When are you going to lose the weight?" And so it was just kind of that momentum and that motivation. That's when my journey started, was with like my mid 30s. And so, I mean, I was still on the diet roller coaster, been on the diet roller coaster my whole life up until my early 50s. And I would lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, but I never felt good. I had miserable allergies and asthma. I had the PCOS, insulin resistance, prediabetes. I had that whole thing. But the worst one that made me so uncomfortable was being fat and feeling uncomfortable in my body and not feeling beautiful. So I had no confidence. But the biggest problem was that asthma. You know, the asthma just kept me hacking, you know, just kept me coughing. I'd get bronchitis and sinusitis all the time. And then I would have to get on an inhaler. Kaiser finally gave me a breathing machine. I was on prednisone, all the, you know, antibiotics. So, I mean, I was living like that for like 20 years. Until I finally just kicked it to the curb and threw out my breathing machine because I didn't need it anymore. So I was super excited to be able to do that.
You had a lot of things that's ailing you. You said you had PCOS, allergies, and then you also mentioned depression. You now have control over all of that, your weight, and then you no longer have those major allergies, right, that you talked about taking over your life. You used to have to rely on breathing machines to help you. And you are now in your 60s. You overcame all of these issues, right? Which
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I'm at 60 today, and when I got to my 50s, I did have some thinning hair. I started to notice more knee pain. I had degenerating tissue and knee pain, and then I also had like my eyes were kind of wonky, my eyes were blurry, and I didn't feel good. So when I finally changed my diet and found a ancestral way of eating, I've been studying ancestral health. That's why I went into the ADAPT certified functional health program. But it wasn't until I got myself on a keto diet and took out
nice.
all the fruit, all the dried fruit that I'd been eating on a paleo diet. When I took out all the wheat and the sugar completely, but it was pulling in that MCT oil and pulling in that butter and getting that good fat. It was like Miracle-Gro. It just turned my brain back on. I think that saved my life. Because that's when I went back to school. That's when I got excited. That's when I went back to the ADAPT. I'm like, I'm going to get into this health coach program. I have no idea what I was doing. I'm like, this is what I'm going to study. I am so excited. And then after that, I'm like, well, it's not enough to help people. So then I heard about functional diagnostic nutrition, and I'm like, yes, we can find hidden healing opportunities in those weight loss blocks, and we can really empower people and other women to choose health to lose the weight, because when you're overweight, it's a symptom of dysfunction in the body. It is a insulin resistance in a pre-diabetic state. And if you don't turn it around with diet, you're going to get stuck. And so I'm out on a mission to try to help people reverse this. But it's that ketone production in the brain. You have to turn your brain on, and you have to reduce the cravings. And the only way to do that and not be hungry is to bring in the fat and the protein and take the sugar out.
Yes. And, I love it. And unfortunately, we don't hear these success stories often. It's usually the other way. You turn 60, and for our listeners, it's progressively getting worse and worse, right? And for you were able to turn it around. You've been trying and trying for 20 years, you said, and finally changed your diet. How did you find out about keto, anyways?
I'm a voracious reader. So I'd been studying Paleolithic and ancestral diet and nutrition. I've been, ever since my husband told me, when are you going to lose the weight? I started cracking open the book, started exploring diets, started reading more about it. Unfortunately, I was stuck in the Susan Powter low fat era then, and it helped me lose a little bit of weight, but I did not heal my brain. I did not have energy. And so I just had to live through it. And I started working at a natural food store, and I was ended up being in charge of the books because I love the books. So I started reading about the wheat belly, about ancestral health with Chris Kresser, and all the doctors that were talking about paleo nutrition and ancestral health nutrition. So I just got more and more excited about it. I started exploring it, started taking wheat out of my diet. I did HCG, lost the weight, gained it all back. And I got off wheat, but ended up back on it. So it wasn't until I was completely able to take wheat out of my diet before I can actually manage a diet change, because that increases your appetite. It causes you to be hungrier, and it just messes up the brain and the body. And so the combination of taking wheat and sugar out of your diet will reverse the inflammation and help you make the action changes, because those two foods are addictive. And I had a sugar addiction. I had a food addiction, and I had to get rid of them. But I did use, processed keto food initially as the bridge. I'm a baker, so I baked bread, keto bread, and that helped me get off of the addictive foods and find something else to eat I can then change, and my weight loss journey can evolve, and I can eventually eat less of those things and more whole foods. And so basically, I think it took me a couple of years for the asthma to completely reverse itself, because I had to get rid of the food sensitivity and reverse inflammation. So when I went keto, I dropped 20 pounds pretty much right off the bat, but I didn't lose any more weight for 3 years. But so my thought here, and what I want to inform women, is never give up. Just because you can't keep losing weight, what is the next thing that you need to do? How do we dial this in? And so you're working on reducing inflammation at this point. You're working on reducing insulin resistance, and you got to figure out how to correct the gut. Because if you're feeling better and you feel better than you have in years, the diet's working. It's just the weight loss is stalled. And where are the hidden healing opportunities and weight loss blocks? You just have to look for them. You have to just give your body time to heal. And so getting rid of the asthma was amazing to me. It was just really big.
So what I'm hearing here is, Lori, you done your own research. You healed yourself. Not in the 20 years that you've done this, that it came from conventional medicine, right? Because
No.
they put you on medication, right? They put you on your
Yeah, I had
inhalers,
prednisone
right?
because mine was
Prednisone.
seasonal allergies,
Yeah,
but they lasted a long time until I did the immunotherapy at one
yeah.
point, so that was less. However, I had huge allergy to the mulberry trees, which are in my yard, and I couldn't go outside during spring. I couldn't have windows open. I would just be completely congested, and then I would be wheezing and couldn't breathe. I'd have to use the breathing machine and an inhaler. So I would go to the allergist every March, April, and he said I would always be on an inhaler. He was
Yeah.
wrong. That for most people in the conventional way, that's all he could see. Because if you actually take the foods that cause inflammation in your body out of your diet, then you're not inflamed and you don't have a lot of mucus. If you take the inflammatory food, you reduce mucus and you're not congested, so you don't get asthma. And, over time, that's all going to heal and correct itself. So I don't use an inhaler anymore or a breathing machine, and I don't have to use prednisone or an antibiotic and get on all those medications. I'll use supplements to support and strengthen, but during my allergy season, you just don't touch dairy, so there's less mucus.
So you talked about PCOS, you talked about your severe allergies, sinusitis, you said bronchitis, and all of that is changed by your diet and lifestyle.
Diet and lifestyle change. Mm-hmm.
And it may have took you a long time to do your research, but it still is up to that person, right? Because this is why I really want to get to help people is you have to really take control of your life. Because for some people, they would be down on themselves, blaming themselves because, some of these diets don't work for them and the medications doesn't work. And then, at some point they stop the search for a solution because especially if your doctor says, you're going to be on inhalers for a long time. But right now you talked about a lot of these things that ails you and now they're all reversed, which is like, and then you've done everything. You tried all the different diets, right?
Oh, I did all the diets. I did Weight Watchers.
Yeah.
I did Nutrisystem. I'd done Atkins and I always felt better. My mom said I always did better on amino acids and I did always feel better. But then, the society tells you it's a bad diet to be on. And so then you just go back to eating the foods that are comfort foods that you crave. And once you take one bite, that's all it takes if you're addicted to those foods. And you will get, you return your hunger back on. And once that insulin, I call it turning the insulin switch back on. Yeah. So you could either turn it on or you could turn it off. You could practice epigenetics and you can actually improve the health of your DNA by not expressing bad DNA, but you can express your good ones by your diet and lifestyle. And so basically, if you flip the sugar switch on by having a cheat day with wheat and sugar, then you're going to feel miserable again. But if you just keep it off and live a holistic lifestyle, that's just a whole foods lifestyle, because that's all keto really is. It's a whole foods lifestyle with meat, fat, vegetables, and a few berries, nuts and seeds, depending on what your gut can tolerate and how low carb you need to go. It's just a balance to find where you need to be with that process. But you can eat as much good food as you want and feel happy all the time, or you can feel miserable by eating the foods that make you sick.
You know what? Some people think that they'll feel miserable if they restrict themselves of these foods.
It's that food addiction talking. It's because we are addicted to food, and sugar and wheat are highly addicted. They are more addictive than cocaine, and they've done studies on rats to prove that.
Yes, absolutely. And you also talked about depression. You once battled depression as well. I want to let people in and sort of get you an idea on what it's like, right? And 7 years ago, now for me, and I had since, had no symptoms, thanks to this lifestyle. Let me know if this also, resonates with you. Okay.
Yes, it definitely does. I'd had some really bad depression when I was a child. My mom tried to take me to a psychologist, but, they said if I can't talk, they can't help me. But so I think that might be part of why she put me on an Atkins diet, and it did help support me then. And I needed more amino acids. Basically, I need a lot of amino acids, and I have taken like a metabolic typing test that shows that I am a protein-based diet type. And I am Swedish, Icelandic, Ireland, French, German. All of those things are up in the countries where they did focus on more meat and protein. So my mitochondria and my body type needs more proteins to manage my health. But I have noticed over the years that I need to stay higher fat to keep the ketone production up to support my brain health overall. So I can't do a lower fat diet to lose weight faster. I have to do a higher fat diet and kind of maintain my body weight because my brain needs more fat overall. I need that balance to feel good. So I like to fast in the morning, have bulletproof coffee. And I've been doing that for 7 years because it works for me. And because I get that higher fat, I get my brain turned on. I get to stay in ketosis and I function better. And, then I'm just energized all day from that and digestive enzymes and getting the right supplements for my body. And then bringing in, amino acids and protein to make sure that I'm getting the right amount of proteins and fatty acids to support mitochondria and serotonin in my gut. And, once your gut health is good, then your brain's functioning.
So you're saying the way people eat now is not the way we're supposed to eat. Like you're supposed to have more protein. Is that the genetic haplotypes that they talk about?
Right. So there's also metabolic typing, and it's all based on some scientific questions that they'll take for you that I did specifically. But I haven't checked my DNA, but I know what my nationality is. And if you think about how, your ancestors ate, way back when, you want to look at the geographical area. That's why I really loved listening to that other episode, because it is the fact that the geographical area, if you were in winter and there was no vegetables and fruit available, our DNA, our mitochondria are tuned into having that type of a diet. And so that's how I am. I'm a Norwegian type person, body type. I need more protein and fat, and I cannot have high carbohydrates. I don't do well on them at all. They make me sluggish. They give me depression. They make me feel uncomfortable. I lose all my energy. And I stall out. I just can't tolerate very many. I could do a few nuts and seeds and vegetables and a tiny bit of fruit, but other than that, that's about it.
You know what? I look at other people's diet, and it will consist of a lot of meal replacements, a lot of, meal replacement like those bars that you see that has a lot of proteins, but from whey protein, right? And they wouldn't have like real animal protein in their diet. And so if you look at their daily protein intake, they're not even hitting half of what they need.
No.
So that could be causing most of their
right. I mean, if you're only getting a little bit of protein and you're not building your body, our bodies are made from meat. We are meat bodies. We are carnivores. If we do not get protein to build up our body, and those amino acids don't get broken down with the proper digestive support and get into the gut and actually are absorbed, if we're not absorbing it and getting the right amount, we can't maintain our body mass. We cannot maintain our brain function. And if you're not getting fat, your brain is shrinking. You're not maintaining your brain function.
Yeah, though, a lot of people are, it's just so hard to see people that are, depressed and, have a lot of weight issues. But then you look at their diet, they're not aware. They just don't know what they don't know, and it is pretty sad. And it's like podcasts like yours and others that I listen to a lot is like, hopefully they'll get on a podcast and hear somebody talk about it, hear my story, and be empowered to choose health. Because if we don't make the choice to make a change, we have to choose your heart. It's hard to change your lifestyle now, but it's a hell of a lot easier to change your lifestyle now than to be sick later and have to reverse cancer and Alzheimer's disease. Those are hard. I love that.
That's hard.
That you choose your heart. Right.
That, and then the one thing that I'm really focused on, because I'm 60, is aging young. And so what if you could invest in yourself in retirement to have the health that you want so you can live life adventurously without pain in your body? Because I don't have any pain in my body and no dysfunction and no disease. And I'm not on any medications at 60. Most people are declining if they've even made it this far. So choosing health is a really big deal. And why not invest in your health for retirement rather than giving your money away to the medical system in a nursing home?
What do you think is stopping them? Because you've done your research. It started you way back, but before you got to where you are, it's really up to you to do your own research and do your own, you know, testings here and there. But you got here now. You're teaching a lot of people to how to reverse these diseases. But for people, what's stopping them? For us now, it's very clear since we've crossed that line. But for some people, it's really hard for them to cross that line. You talked about addiction, right? And talking about just cannot let go of that. Where should they start? Because how do they identify that in them? But identifying addiction is one thing, right? But how do you make your clients identify that in them?
It's so basically start taking an action plan. So the soon as you take an action plan and start making action plans, weekly. So, maybe do you need to do cold turkey? Do you like that process? Or do you just want to cut back to maybe 100 carbs? So the first thing people can do that can empower them is to just stop eating processed food and cut carbs down to around 100. And then let the body and the brain start feeling more energy. And once the brain starts working better because your insulin levels are lower and you've got more fat and protein in the diet, then you can turn on that excitement, bring your energy back to focus better on making the next action plan and digging a little deeper into what you need to do. And so if you start listening to podcasts, reading the book on people who understand this, that kind of helps empower you, because you got to find a tribe of people that are like-minded. So people on the, functional health on the internet here with podcasts, follow all these people because they understand if they've been there. Got to follow somebody who's done it and lost the weight and got their brain back. I started with Dave Asprey because he was, when keto was starting out more 7 years ago, and he'd already started it. So that was my big thing. And I went to one of the Bulletproof conferences and listened to a brain scientist talk about being a 10-year survivor from brain cancer. And he was a body type scientist. And I spoke to him afterwards, and he took one look at me and he said, "You can't eat any fruit because of my body type." And I'd been eating and nibbling on goji berries and golden berries, thinking paleo was good for me, but my eyes were wonky. I still did not have the energy I needed. I had to take all the fruit out of my diet. And once I brought in more of the C8 MCT oil, that's like magic for the brain. That was like putting fire back into the brain so it can function again. And that's why I never turned back and never cheated again, because I like how I feel.
That's how I felt actually when I went keto, because I was in the darkest time in my life where it was just constant doubts and fears. And if I felt like it was me, right? It's so easy to blame yourself, especially also with, weight loss. If you're not losing the weight, it's so easy to blame yourself. But once you really know how to feel your body and what your body type requires for you to get that energy, it's like a light bulb that turns on, right? You can't unsee it, right?
Correct.
You talk about when you started, it may be processed keto foods. You said you're cooking, but then once you feel good, just cutting out the processed foods and the sugar and the grains, now you're feeling much better. I like that. It's just the action plan that you talked about and how you were navigating that in the beginning. It's up to you to continue on just cleaning out your diet, getting into more of a whole food diet.
Yeah, a holistic lifestyle. Just creating a lifestyle. It's not a diet. If you go on a diet, you will fail and you will go back to your old habits and get sick again. But if you look at it as a lifestyle change and you can correct it and you can course correct continuously, and then once you've had a little bit of weight loss and you want more, what's the next step you can do? Initially you got to cut out all the processed food, and then you're going to lose some weight. You're going to correct that, but then you need to fix your gut. So once you fix your gut, I lost another 15 pounds. And then it wasn't even till last year that I really lost the last 20. And that was leaving a retail environment, getting out from under fluorescent lights, getting out and grounding, getting sunlight, and creating my circadian balance and looking at life as a health adventure, that I got the last of the results that I needed. And now I'm fine tuning it to build muscle, get more protein, and be strong at 60, because I haven't mentioned it yet, but one of the benefits benefits I got out of this was I used to have sore knees that were degenerating. And most people think they just need knee surgery. You don't need knee surgery. You just need collagen and a lifestyle change. And so my knees are perfectly fine. And when about 7 years ago, before I changed my diet, I walked down to Phantom Ranch on the Bright Angel Trail at the Grand Canyon. Excruciating knee pain once I started heading down, and it hurt. It hurt. And after I changed my diet, I would go back to the Grand Canyon once a year, every 2 years, and it hurt less, and to the point that it didn't hurt at all. And now, last September, I walked 17 miles down South Kebab to Phantom Ranch, back up Bright Angel Trail. Fastest time I've ever had in ketosis during a heat wave at 105. And I had no pain in my body. I felt amazing. I had energy. And by the time I got up to the top, I didn't even go in my room and collapse or do anything. I just went back to the trail to see who was walking up because I wanted to talk to them. You know, and it's like, I was so excited. So today or this year, I'm planning, because I planned it last year when I turned 60, I am planning a rim to rim 24-mile hike from the north rim of the Grand Canyon all the way to the south rim. And I'm so excited, and I know I can do this, and it's not going to hurt, and it's going to be amazing. And this is my 60th birthday celebration.
Wow, I love that. I love that you're doing this because you are motivating a lot of people out there, you know, especially I hope my parents can hear you talk here. I'm going to send this to them.
Awesome. They
Right.
can choose to do it.
Yeah.
Anybody, you just have to start. You start making action changes. You have to choose your heart. You have to just make the decision that you don't want to be sick, and you can choose health over being sick. You know, you may not completely heal a body that's fully damaged, but you could get to a place where you're comfortable and feeling beautiful in your body, and you can have, you know, a more active lifestyle. You can turn off the pain. I call it, I work with my clients to reverse insulin resistance. And then when we reverse insulin resistance, we turn off the flames of fire in the body by what we're eating and how your lifestyle is. So you have to reduce inflammation and you have to reduce insulin resistance. And then your body pain goes away and you start to heal. And that's when you start to lose the weight.
I also love how you talked about, you know, lifestyle versus diet. Now, I think people might have an idea what that means, but can you explain that a little further to them so that they understand that they have to really opt into a lifestyle? And it's not just a diet. The diet is really a big part of it. Nutrition is a big part of it. But the lifestyle is how you actually move forward and, you know, create this long-lasting change. How would you explain that?
I guess you can explain it as this is not a temporary thing. A diet is temporary. You're restricting yourself. I don't look at the lifestyle I have as a restriction. I look at it as something I get to do, and I look at it as a positive forward process to creating health in my body. So I could consider my lifestyle a holistic lifestyle, and I focus on whole foods, and I look for the foods that make my body feel good, and I eat the foods that I love, like just cold bacon after a hike last weekend was just the most amazing thing I ate. And I had hard-boiled eggs with some keto pizza for a picnic, and I felt so amazed. I just started jogging in the parking lot, but it just felt really good because it gives me energy. So you want to look at how you can create a holistic lifestyle, but this one foot in front of the other, and start making those action plans. A holistic lifestyle to me is maybe you need supplements to help you feel better while you're getting yourself pulled up. And so rely on a digestive enzyme. Get a good digestive enzyme that's going to help you digest your fat and protein. You know, you might want to get a gut test, because if you get a gut test, you can find out if your stomach's functioning. If your stomach's not functioning, not digesting, and your HCl is, your stomach acid is too low, because contrary to what people are telling you, you're supposed to have higher stomach acid to digest your food so your digestion functions, so that then your gut can function and have the right bacteria. And so you want to look at steps like that holistically. Is like, what can you find out under your body, inside the body? What labs could you run to uncover these hidden opportunities and weight loss blocks so you can correct them? And so having a holistic lifestyle is actually, you're your own healthcare. You are investing in yourself, and you are looking at what you can do to support yourself, and not living within a sick care system in the medical system where they can't help you, but they're going to put a Band-Aid on you and give you a drug that's not going to heal your body. It's not going to get to the underlying root cause. What can you do in your lifestyle? How can you live your lifestyle and support yourself with food and supplementation and your environment with circadian balance? I mean, I'm barefoot all the time. I've gone to the gas station accidentally barefoot, and because I didn't have my shoes on. But if you are barefoot, you actually can feel the ground from the bottom up and heal what's going on in your body just by getting energy from the earth, but also can turn off inflammation. And so there's so many things that we can do as a lifestyle if you look at it, and you don't have to do it all at once. I didn't do it all at once. It's taken me 7 years of practicing a keto holistic lifestyle to really dial in my circadian rhythm and to understand how the earth and the light supports me and my body so that I can have joy. And so I like to look at this as, let's uncover all your hidden healing opportunities and weight loss blocks, fix them, support you, and then I meet you where you're at. And then we just energize your body and turn off the pain. Any weight loss will start to come off. And this is a lifestyle, and it's one step at a time. You just, if you have to rely on keto foods to begin with, that's what I did. But I never quit. I continued to look for what I needed, and I continued to get excited every time I found out about something new. And then when I found out about the Bioptimizers, Capex, and digestive enzymes, I was all over that. I invested in that, and then I dropped 15 pounds. And that was something that helped me function, helped my gut heal. And so there's so many different things that people can experiment with. Consider it an experiment, and it's your healthcare. It's your self-care. You are worth it. And if you want to feel beautiful and confident in your body, you have to choose healthcare for yourself, a health freedom to go forward in life and to choose what you want to look. You can rebuild your life, and you can recreate what you want to look at. You have to ask yourself, why and what do you want? Why? What is happening? What do you want? And why is it important? So asking those questions, and then thinking about what you can have, and then making that plan. And so it's developing a lifestyle. You're recreating life to live your best life. And if you can do this in your 50s before you get 60, then you can have health freedom, retirement freedom. You can have no pain in your body at 60 like me, and just get it corrected. It's a choice.
I can listen to you all day.
It's so powerful. And one of my biggest things is what I can really do for women is I motivate them and inspire them. I had a friend who called me up about a year ago. She called me up in April, and she said, "Lori, I lost 40 pounds. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing?" She goes, "I went on OMAD." But she's been drinking bulletproof coffee, taking collagen, and she started doing OMAD and listening to Dr. Jason Fung. But she'd been following me. She used to be my neighbor. She's seen my journey, and she saw me unhealthy, and she saw me change. And she went down the Grand Canyon with me too. I planned a trip for her. Her knees also hurt. Well, guess what happened after she lost that 40 pounds? She lost another 10 pounds. She turned off all the pain in her knees. And now she was out hiking Sweden. And we're going to go to this hike next Saturday, 4 miles straight up on Mount Baden-Powell here right near Wrightwood, California. And we're going to go straight up. And she goes, "I know I can do this." I'm like, "I know you can. You hiked the Grand Canyon. You have no pain in your knees."
Wow.
And I didn't even work with her. I just inspired her from a distance. And so this is really powerful when people know they can do it because they've seen somebody else do it. That's why you hang out with people who are successful.
That's important work that we're doing. That's important.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Isn't that amazing to hear?
I was so excited. And then she even texted me back and said, she's kept the weight off, and she's down to like a 6 from a 12, 14. And she's just feeling good and beautiful in her body, and she feels happy. And she knows that if she brings those foods back, she gets inflammation and arthritis all over again. Because when you take it out and then start listening to your body and you bring it back in, you will feel the pain of arthritis, and you will not feel good in your body.
You're made for this. You're made for this. I can.
This is my mission. This is my passion, and I live it. I live it. I walk the walk.
I feel it. I can feel it in your voice and how you articulate yourself. You're very knowledgeable with with what you're talking about, and it's just so refreshing, right? Well, how different are you now from before? And then what would you tell yourself if you could go back way back then and tell yourself something? What would it be?
It would be not to eat wheat and sugar for sure, because those were huge for me. And I did a food sensitivity test. I would love everybody to have a food sensitivity test in their 30s, if not earlier, because when you're in your 30s, you start to break down. Women get PCOS and have estrogen dominance. And it's just a very toxic situation. And you start to have anxiety and depression. And they put you on an antidepressant. Well, that's not what we need. What we need is to take the foods that we're sensitive to out of our body and find out what's causing inflammation, that's causing brain dysfunction. So I read sensitive, like I react to wheat and I also react to dairy, and sugar just inflamed my body. So taking those out when I was younger would have been something I would love to have known and be able to go back and tell myself, because I'm currently working with someone in her mid-30s who's going to get married next year. I've been working with her for over a year and a half, and she's lost over 40 pounds. Wow. And she is going to be taken in her wedding dress, and she's so excited to be on this journey. But you know what? If I had somebody at that age, if I was at that age and I had somebody like me helping me, I would not have lost my 40s. I lost out on 20 years of quality life because I was depressed, had anxiety and those asthma, and couldn't live the life that I wanted to. I was depressed and not confident, and I didn't feel pretty. So I didn't go places. I couldn't go to the beach and wear a swimsuit or anything like that. I didn't get to live a quality life. So now my client, she gets to live a quality life in her 40s. She gets to be healthy and have a healthy baby because that's what she's learning now. That's what she's invested in. She's going to have a healthy baby. She's going to have great 40s. And what's really powerful for this for me is, like, I love working with women in menopause, but I love working with somebody at 35 who has PCOS and doesn't understand what's going on in their body. And, you know, I got her off of injectable birth control. And then she started losing weight. I got her to dial in her digestion with the Capex enzymes, and she's finally bust through her weight loss stall and got under 199 pounds. She's going all the way down. And I tell them, you can choose the weight loss you want. You just have to dial it in. This is a lifestyle, not a diet, and you will have permanent weight loss. I look at this as permanent weight loss, and I guarantee it because I understand the science behind it and what everybody needs to do. You might not be able to do it fast. Maybe you need to do it slow, but eventually you'll get off the addictive foods and it becomes easier.
It does become easier.
And, you know, I lost most of my weight. I mean, I was 185 when I was struggling. Struggling to stay under 200 was the goal I had. And if I wasn't dieting, then I was gaining weight. So I was always trying to diet and starve myself and try to figure out how to stay under 200 pounds. And so when I started keto and I dropped 20 pounds, that was the biggest thing that I've ever done in my life. And that's like, that was empowering. And so I would never choose to go back to be like that because, you know, why diet and starve yourself when you could eat food that makes you feel good and that you don't have to do that. And I forgot what else I was going to say, but there was something else in there.
Wow. These are all profound that you're saying here, and what you're doing to women, you know, whether they're in the 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, you know.
Oh, that was the other thing is, like, I lost my weight in in menopause, and women say they can't lose weight in menopause. I lost from 185 down to 127 all in menopause. That's so you can. It's a myth. It's just insulin resistance. Yeah. You have to focus on diet. And tune into your body.
People all get caught up with, you know, the normal, because it's normal for that age to gain weight. It's normal for people to, you know, have aches and pains. Right. And it becomes so common that people think that, it comes with aging. Yeah.
It's just because it's common. I mean, if 88% of people are unhealthy, it becomes common, but that doesn't make it normal. Getting to the root cause of dysfunction in the body and reversing metabolic dysfunction is what you really want to do. You want to reset your metabolism so it functions by giving your body nutrition, but you have to absorb the nutrition. So are you absorbing your nutrition that you're spending money on? You may not even.
So let's uncover this a lot more. So we talk about the hidden weight loss blocks. Can we, you know, talk a little bit about what those are? Where can they get these testings, and what are the next steps for them?
Yeah. So as a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, I run anywhere from 3 to 6 labs with my VIP clients. And I have like a 3-month program and a 6-month program, but I'm also going to be redesigning that to like a 5-month and a 9-month program so that I could help people with diabetes and to dissolve their symptomology, because that's a post I'm going to be putting out, because it's just like people need to know they don't have to be sick like that. You don't have to choose to have diabetes. You just need to know what to eat and help to dissolve the symptoms by changing diet and lifestyle. And so the 3 main tests that I run is a GI map test, which is going to uncover whether you have a digestive dysfunction, whether you're digesting fat, whether you're able to digest food in your stomach, what your bacteria looks like, if you have dysbiosis, leaky gut, and so many other things that we can uncover. What type of bacteria? Do you have good bacteria? Do you have skinny bacteria? Or do you have your fat bacteria? Because if you have a lot of fat bacteria, which is called a Firmicutes, then you're storing more energy as fat. But and that's the sugar, when you feed those bacteria sugar, they will grow and make you fatter. But if you actually feed your skinny bacteria, the Bacteroides, then they're going to give you a better balance, and you're going to have skinny bacteria and better mitochondria function and better brain health. You're going to have more serotonin. You're going to have a healthier gut. And so those are some of the things that we're going to work on. And then there's the Dutch test. The Dutch is a dried urine hormone test. And that's going to let us know, if you're estrogen dominant, if you have high cortisol levels. It's going to show you inflammation. It's going to show you some organic acids, like, are you absorbing your glutathione? Are you creating glutathione? Are you getting your B12? What's your B6 look like? Are you detoxifying, or do you have cancer? Because that test will show you if your cancer is turned on. It will show if you're methylating. So much good information. And then there's the other one, is the food sensitivity test. And don't just underrate that as something like you don't really need to know, because I just ran another one with a client, and she's sensitive to mold, and it's showing fructose in honey, and it's showing her sensitivity to mold. And she's never given up sugar in any of the diet changes, or of all the practitioners she's worked with. She's never corrected her diet to get rid of sugar. And so she couldn't heal. And so now she wants to commit to that, and having that food sensitivity test is showing her, yes, this does make a difference. And this is empowering her to get away from the food she's sensitive to help stop inflammation in her gut. Because if you eat foods that are turning on inflammation, you're just continuously having leaky gut and permeability. And then that's causing autoimmunity in your body. And it's causing systemic inflammation in your blood, because you have something called zonulin in your gut. And wheat opens up the zonulin levels in everybody. Everybody will react to this. And if you are eating wheat continuously, your zonulin levels are stuck open, and all those food particles, if they're not getting digested, are getting into your body and causing problems. And that's part of how you can get more dysbiosis and autoimmunity. And so that needs to be healed. You need to heal and seal the gut. And so getting the information lets us find these hidden healing opportunities. And then we discover what your weight loss blocks are. And I support you with lifestyle diet and manage all the analysis then give you the information for you to empower yourself to know what's going on under your body, and know you don't want to live like that, and you can fix it. We can change your bacteria. We can feed the right bacteria and correct the health of your gut. And that's 80% of your immune system right there.
That's a lot of information there. So you're saying, even if you're on keto and you're still eating those foods that are inflammatory, if you're not checking your food sensitivity,
then you're not going to reduce all the inflammation in your body. And you could actually be eating keto foods that raise your blood sugar because you don't know what to eat, because a lot of them will lie and the labels are wrong, and then you can still raise your insulin levels. And so you're not reducing insulin resistance completely, and you haven't reduced the visceral fat and inflammation in your body. And it's going to feel like keto doesn't work for you because you didn't know what the right steps to do. You didn't have somebody helping you, guide you in the lifestyle factors that were going to help support you so that you don't give up and quit. That's one of my biggest things that I do for people, is keep them positive and help pull them up and push them forward by making those action steps and knowing that what I know you're going to succeed, and I will help you succeed.
Yes.
Because you just have to have the right foods for your body and not inflammatory foods. And so the food sensitivity test will kind of help guide us into that as well. But, I help teach my clients how to read labels. I let them know that I don't necessarily count macros. I just get them to eat whole food and to eat less processed food. And then even with the food sensitivity test, it tests for over 175 foods and chemicals. You could be sensitive to your toothpaste. You could be sensitive to a broad group of foods that have tyramine in it. And you could be reacting to fermented foods, and yet eating fermented foods think you're eating the right type of food for your body. That's right. You just don't, getting this information helps you in black and white to just correct it. So my client that reversed diabetes, he thought that was the most powerful thing, is to see what he needed to stop eating so he could correct his inflammation. And he was very empowered with that.
Yeah. No, it does wonders when you could see it on paper, what actually causes inflammation. It's just, without assuming, right? And having that document in front of you is really powerful, right? When it says
right
there.
Yeah, and then you could even not show sensitive to wheat on a food sensitivity test, but it could show as a zonulin and gliadin can show on another test. And I definitely had that happen with one of my clients. It showed on some other test that I ran for her, but it didn't show on her food sensitivity test. But when you need to change inflammation in your body, the first thing you need to do is take out the wheat and maybe the dairy, and maybe you're sensitive to eggs and don't even know it. And if you're on a keto diet, you could be eating eggs every day and be sensitive to it.
Yeah. That is really great information for our listeners here. I want to talk to you about insulin and managing insulin for weight management. Now, you've talked about it here and there on this interview, but let's talk about it. How important it is for your discovery for weight issues, and how was it able to help you overcome, your weight issues?
Well, but the thing with insulin resistance, it is the precursor to pretty much all diseases in the body. And it, leads to prediabetes and diabetes and Alzheimer's. And so it's something we do want to get control. If we have sugar in our blood, then we are storing fat. We are not burning fat. So if you want to lose weight, you have to turn off the sugar switch and flip on your fat burning switch, is what I call it. So when you bring in more fat and protein and reduce the carbohydrates in your blood system, then you're able to actually burn the stored fat as opposed to storing fat. And so when you reduce insulin resistance, I kind of look at it as a simple thing. It's like just stop the switch. Dr. Jason Fung is a really good one to follow, because he says, diabetes is just too much sugar in the blood, and fatty liver is too much sugar in the liver. And so it has nothing to do with the fat you're eating. It has to do with too much sugar in the blood system. And that comes from all carbohydrates. And so you may be intolerant to carbohydrates more so when you start than when you get to maintenance. So it just depends. You got to heal the body. You have to stop the insulin resistance. And the only way to do that is to take carbohydrates down under 100. And it may be that you need to go down as far as 50 or 20, but it's going to depend on your body and your ancestry as to how far you need to go and what you need to reverse, what you need to manage. In the beginning, you may need to go deeper and take out more carbohydrates so you can heal, and then find where you're balancing and bring it in. And so it just depends on how strict you need to be. But I hope I answered this right. But the insulin resistance, what I needed to do for myself was to take all sugars out of my body for my insulin resistance to heal.
Yes. Also, you talked about, knowing where sugar is coming from too. You talk about
right. And then it's the other side of that is it's the hormonal balance. I do, when I work with my clients, I have a 6-week group program or a one-on-one intensive where I go over how to turn off cravings in the body. And basically you have to work with your hormones. You have to understand ghrelin, which makes you hungry. And if you're eating those wheat, gluten, low-carb foods, you're going to still be hungry. It'll make you crave food. And then you got to have a leptin balance. You have to reverse leptin resistance. So you have to bring in the protein. And that's how collagen can help in the morning, because it's helping you bring in more protein in a DNA signaling to help reduce leptin sensitivity. So if you don't get the protein, you're going to still not have your hormones balancing. And it could be as simple as not having enough salt. I had one of my clients working with me that she was stalled for 3 years on weight loss. And her protein was too low, and she was dehydrated and not getting enough salt. So when she worked with me for at least an hour, took 3 pages of notes with a big smile on her face, she's like, 6 weeks working with me, and she dropped 5 pounds just because she needed exactly information that I gave her personally for what her journey was to help guide her. And then she makes those action plans. But, if you're not getting protein, if you're not getting salt, if you're not working on your hormones, see, the problem with weight loss is it's not a calories in, calories out approach. It is a hormonal process. And if you are looking at it as cutting back on calories and cutting back on fat, you're just starving your body and you're losing muscle mass, but you're not really losing the fat. You're not losing visceral, inflammatory fat. So you want to look at it as a hormonal process. How can you support your hormones? How can you balance your hormones so that you can turn off your cravings? Because that's got to be the very first one, is you've got to turn off the hunger. You have to stop the cravings so you can be in action to make your lifestyle work for you, so you can feel empowered, get the energy, and start turning off the pain and start getting quick wins to lose weight. But it starts with getting rid of cravings and turning off hunger. And that's a hormonal process.
Wow.
You got to flip the sugar switch.
Yeah.
Got to flip that sugar switch is what I call it.
Flip the sugar switch. I love it.
Yep.
I love it. Your clients are very lucky to have you. Just,
I've got one client that says, "Did you bill me?" Because you guys are like, "I'm not done with you yet."
Well, talk about the Immersive Health Adventure, Aging Beautifully, your 6-month program. What does it entail?
So my 6-month program, I have 6 labs with that. And basically, it starts off where I just drop ship you 6 labs so that you can self-test at home. And you only pay for 3 of those, but I bonus in 3 of them because I want more information for you. And I only, you only have to pay for 3 of them. But what this does is in the very first months, I get to see what's going on under your hood. And I will do the very first month we go into a kickoff call, which is like a 2-hour call. And the very week after that is a 2-hour deep dive diet, so that I will do a sales presentation, not a sales presentation, but a presentation to explain to you about diet and why you need to do a specific ancestral diet and everything that you need to do to make this work for you. And then we go straight into that MRT food sensitivity test and find out what your foods are sensitive to. So by the end of the first month, you have so much information and you're feeling so excited that you're ready to make this into more of a lifestyle, and you're getting those quick wins and you're starting to get 5 pounds of weight loss. And so I go through and analyze all 6 labs, and then I support you. The thing that's different about my program is once I do a metabolic analysis in the very first week as well. That's part of the kickoff call. So you fill out a metabolic form and a thyroid form, and then I analyze it and I show you where all your symptoms are. You might have 500 symptoms, but I'm not treating a symptom like doctors do. I don't just treat thyroid. I support the whole body. I support your metabolism, and I put you back together like Humpty Dumpty just by supporting you. And so this is cell phone contact. You have cell phone contact with me continuously pretty much, and then weekly calls. So if it's not an hour call, then it's a 2-hour call, or it could be a 30-minute check-in, but I never leave you alone. Like now I've just got somebody onboarding and she's texting me daily because that's what she needs for mindset, because this can be scary. You're changing a lot of things and you're not going to be alone. I do not let you be alone. And I give massive support with my Aging Beautiful program. And why I call it a health adventure is because I teach you to get outside, teach you to get sunlight. I model this lifestyle of movement and choosing to have a health adventure for your life, because you need to get outside and you need to grow your brain. If you don't get outside and do different things, your brain will shrink. We cannot have health if your brain is shrinking. And so health adventures help you get up and out of being stuck and get you excited and feeling joy again. And this is when I love to see my clients' smiles come back. And when their pain drops from a 10 to a 2 and they've dropped 25 pounds, like my client was just telling me today, she feels amazing, and it's worth the investment in themselves.
That is awesome.
Did that explain it well enough? I mean, I do work
yes.
with people for 6 months, and I just had somebody refer her friend. She goes, "You got to do everything Lori says."
That's awesome.
So that you can get results that you need.
That's awesome. And where can people find you? Where can they connect with you, Lori?
Yeah, I am on Instagram pretty much daily at Lori Balue Weight Loss. And I'm also have a website, loribalue.com. And I'm on Facebook as well. So you could always friend me on Facebook at Lori Balue. And then I also have a Lori Balue Aging Beautifully private Facebook group. And you just have to want to get in that. You just have to let me know and I'll invite you. So I'm out there all the time, and I'm into giving you information. Ask me a question. If you want to get on a 30-minute call and just get to know me, I do those 30-minute calls, and you can get one action plan out of that and just hang out with me and I will inspire you.
Awesome. And we'll link everything in the description box below so you guys can check out Lori and get connected with her Wow, that's amazing, Lori. That's a lot here. I hope you guys are taking notes because there's a lot of information there.
Yeah, this is aging young. So that's what I call it, aging young as well as aging beautifully, because as you get into your 60s, you can live without pain and feel good and be active. You don't have to feel your age. You don't have to feel like you're twice that age. You don't have to age quickly. You can age healthy.
Awesome.
Age young. Mm-hmm.
I love it. Thank you so much once again, Lori.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're awesome. All right, guys. That's Lori. Get connected. Everything is linked in the description box below, guys. Awesome. Lori, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Subscribe to the Ketones and Coffee podcast today and never miss an episode.